Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Jabroni Drive. It's the Jabroni Drive after WrestleMania. So much to talk about. Undertaker, John Cena, Roman Reigns, The Rock, Sami Zayn, Gunther, Seth Rollins, everything. Timmy, what do you have to say to all the Schmidt-Lavelle-lites out there?
Tom, everyone knows that listening to Jabroni Drive is just to woo. And when you listen to Jabroni Drive, everyone knows that you're a jabroni.
Life. Ha 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 ha. I love it. Jabroni Drive starts now. Woo. Woo. Oh, Timmy, I think I can hear it in my voice. It's still not all there from this past weekend. What an amazing weekend. What an incredible time. And we're going to get into all of that. But before we do that, we need you to do something right now. If you're not already doing it, pause us. Hit that subscribe. Hit that follow. Hit that button that gets the notifications going. Jabroni Drive, all things professional wrestling. We break it down from top to bottom, left to right, in and out. We do it all here at Jabroni Drive, and we hope you like what we're doing. So please give us that follow, that share, that subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. Jabroni Drive, the hottest growing wrestling podcast in all of wrestling podcasts. Now, Timmy, what a weekend. It was incredible for us, for the real fans, for the people that dive deep, that really are into professional wrestling, and for the casual fans. I mean, WWE did an incredible job, and the show itself, like I can't get over the work that has to go into putting a production like this on, with three sold out shows at Wells Fargo, setting records for attendance at a Wells Fargo event, building stages, pyro, lights, cameras, soundboards, logistics with the wrestlers, security, the whole deal, building stages at the link, parking. We'll get to that later. And just the whole production. I wouldn't even know where to begin. The amount of people it must take to set this up and get it done is incredible. Now, we've been on this journey, me and you, for about a year now. Your dive back into professional wrestling, and what a journey it's been. To me, I'm curious, and I think the listeners out there, paint a picture. How was it for you now back into professional wrestling, and just like, what did you think of this weekend?
Well, look, I always say this. Yeah, I was a fringe fan for quite some time. I never discounted the WWE at all. I always had an eye on it, right? I just never really got into it. So every once in a while, I would tune into WrestleMania. If I had I think I had the WWE network for a little while before they switch over to, I would catch the major shows like SummerSlam and stuff like that. Again, not knowing what was going on. I like not knowing the storyline, stuff like that, but just the entertainment value and just my respect for these entertainers as athletes never waver. I mean, these guys it's incredible some of the things that they can do. And it is sports entertainment, right? And these guys do an excellent job. But Tom, to your point, like when we started this last year, totally unaware that it was going to be in Philadelphia, WrestleMania. And, we started it right around this time last year. I think we're 54 shows in. So 54 weeks of building to this culmination that ended at WrestleMania 40. And I get into it right when wrestling is at its peak, if you will. Since the Attitude Era, it's found itself. It really has. And it's basically reborn again, which is incredible. And there was a lot of turmoil that's happened over the course of the last year with Triple H and with Vince McMahon, and it was just AEW starting up, and coming out of COVID. It was just there's so many different things really that were kind of in the way, hurdles, right? To get to this point where wrestling now is at the pinnacle of where, I mean, I don't even know where you can go from here, right? Because viewership is at an all-time high right now. It's their gates are setting records at every single PLE. Every single time Triple H comes out after a PLE on Raw, he says, "We broke this record, we broke that record." It's really just an exciting time, and to be down there at WrestleMania 40, courtesy of the HJB, by the way. Shout out to him for really setting this whole thing up. Um, yeah, acknowledge the HJB. Tommy just put his finger up if you're listening, and he really set us up with some incredible tickets. And if I'm comparing nights, and I don't want to do that, but I have to because night two was just,
There's no comparison.
yeah, it was just outrageous. And you can't really even put it into words. And I had a buddy of ours that came the night two who does not watch wrestling whatsoever. Um, he is a Philadelphia cop, and he was like, we had an extra ticket. We're like, hey, do you want to come down? And he came down, and his words afterwards, he was just like, dude, this is insanity. Like, I can't really even grasp, what goes on down here. Just the production value and just how enormous this event is, right? And I was calling it basically the Super Bowl, right? Of wrestling. It is, and
Yeah.
that's what it is. And you're right, Tom, when you opened up and you said, hey, this is really, it takes a village, right? That's really the commentary that most people say when you're putting on an event like this, and everything has to go exactly right. The only thing that didn't cooperate really, I think, on Saturday night was really the weather, and it got really chilly and it was pretty windy. Uh, but for the most part, man, that was really the only hurdle that they needed to get over, because the night one and night two were just spectacular. The scenes down there were just incredible, dude. Like, and I gotta give credit to the WWE Nation out there, the fans, you guys that come out in droves, and you wear your belts and you get dressed up as different wrestlers, and you're so passionate about what you do out there, and you bring so much more entertainment value, to me at least, to this event, because you know it's it's really insane to see. And Tom, and you're part of this too, like, because I recorded you a handful of times, how geeked up people get over this stuff. And look, to each his own, right? If you want to get geeked up about it and you want to enjoy it, and that's your prerogative, man. Like, it doesn't matter what it is that entertains you, right? If you love something so much and if you're so passionate about it, let it fly, dude. And what a time to do it down at WrestleMania 40 at the lake.
Yeah.
It was a spectacle. It was a scene. It is seriously the show of shows. I think I put out a tweet that just nobody does it better, Tom.
They
And
don't. And
um
people try to like copycat. They try to a lot of people take from WWE and kind of they're the trailblazers in a lot of things. Now, of course, they see things and they're like, okay, we can do this, we can do that. But WWE has been doing it for such a long time, and these stadium tours and this and that. It's just they're incredible. It's incredible, the production and everything like that. And another thing I noticed last night at the show, and it's like some minor details that you see. But so Cody Rhodes comes out and he says Samantha Irvin, he gives her props and has her announce him again. And then you see Michael Cole and Pat McAfee there like cheering it on, like, yeah, like this is a family. Like, it's amazing where WWE as a company is now under Triple H over the last year or two, they're together. And I know they say it in the beginning, the opening of the show, then now together for forever together. But there is a togetherness in this company of the superstars to the cameraman to, the security to the announcers to the guy at the top, Triple H running the whole thing. It's pretty cool to see. And that's why I think they're so successful. Everyone is in it together, and it's just like
Well, it's
it's
people.
incredible.
So the thing is, when you have a company that's pulling on the rope in the same direction at the same time, you get results like you get that we saw over the weekend, Tom. And you know, it, for a while there was a lot of reports of clashing, and there's just a lot of negative undertone within the organization and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that all that stuff is dissipated, right? There's still some things probably to iron out. It's not one happy family. It's not kumbaya. People are going to get disgruntled and things of that nature. Um, but I mean, it was great to see, and I would say the one thing to really point out amongst all this stuff is the reappearance and reemergence of Stephanie McMahon. I mean, she comes out on night two to really kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here,
Kick
Tom?
the
Like, I
show
mean,
off, man. She just was there to light the fire, basically. Here
but
we go.
it's wild though because of everything that has taken place, right? And then because I mean, the series of events that happens, Tom, over the weekend is the Hall of Fame inductions, right? Where you know, Paul Heyman comes out and he says he's a Paul Levesque guy, and Triple H is sitting in the crowd right next to Stephanie. She's got the ECW hat on. It's just like almost like a spit in the face of Vince. And then she comes
Right.
out again on Saturday or on Sunday and just I mean, I think she started that show on fire. I mean, that when she comes out and she does the Triple H, are you ready? Are you ready? And just kicks it off like that, it's like, oh wow, this is going to be a night. And I think your reaction, Tom, is you're like, oh my god.
I love Stephanie McMahon. So that's something that it's funny because I think part of me loves her because I don't feel like she gets the credit that she deserves. And that makes me like want to root for her more because it's like this kind of underground, not everyone loves Stephanie McMahon, but they should. Um, yeah, dude, it was so awesome. And you know what? You just said Stephanie came out and kick-started the match. So why don't we get into some of the matches now and talk about kick-starting a show? Let's start with Drew McIntyre for Seth Rollins. The first a Claymore to start the match. From that moment on, this match was incredible. The energy was so high. What a way to start night two of WrestleMania. And it was just the back and forth, the story being told, the physical ability of both of these guys. I want to say something too, and we're gonna talk about all of this stuff. But Seth Rollins, what a professional. What a like he does it all. He lost night one in a tag match. He loses night two, loses title, and then later comes out and just basically gets punched in the face and then hit by a chair to a guy that has been one of the workhorses in this company for the last several years,
Sure.
fighting through injury. You could tell he's beaten up, and to go out and put people over like he did is a testament to just how professional he is, and probably why part of the reason why he's at the top of the food chain with this company.
Yeah, and you see, I mean, we after night two, we're sitting there, or after night one, we're sitting there like, all right, it was really good, but we wanted to be better, right? We were like, there's got to be something more. There's got to be more juice on night two. There has to be. And the way it ended on night one with The Rock and Roman Reigns winning the tag team title for Bloodline Rules for Sunday night's main event. In that match, Seth Rollins gets attacked, with his knee. Right, they're going after his knee a little bit there,
Right.
and,
Yes.
and so it was surprising to me to see that match was first the next day. Right, so you're like, oh my god, so he's just coming off this hell of a match, right, with the tag team match, which was
Right. The
incredible to
last
see.
match the night before, and now the first match. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gets rolled right out there, and you
What
talk
about
about.
the entrances too? Shoot, we didn't even mention
Oh
those
yeah, yeah, yeah,
entrances.
yep,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, the mummers entrance, the drummers and the bagpipes with McIntyre. Like,
yeah.
man, this show started so hot on Sunday. That was incredible.
And that's what we're talking about in terms of production and pageantry, and like no one does it better. And we'll keep referencing those points like as it come to memory because there's so much.
Yeah.
Um, but Tom, do you remember how that match starts out?
With the Claymore?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Drew hits the Claymore right out the gate, and it's like, dude, what is going on right now? And then you still have.
I said that.
Oh, you did? I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't hear
that's
it.
the
I'm
first
sorry.
thing I said. You're
Sorry,
not
bud.
listening to me.
Um, but
But
like
yeah, that was awesome.
yeah, and so I think for me during that match, yeah, you can feel that the crowd is kind of split, right? Because they want Rollins to win because obviously a baby face, and Drew McIntyre, has this whole story where he wins the title, and he won it during COVID, and like there was no fans, so like you're kind of pulling on those strings too as well. So, and it's just great, like the dichotomy of both those storylines, right? Where the crowd just doesn't know who they want to win. And I think that's what makes these matches like so well is just like the storylines are so tied in, and there's just so much, there's more um bite to the stories, right? There's just so much that can go either way. And um they both had that arc, right? That character arc, and where they've gone and what they've done, and this match was incredible. And of course, Seth gets or Drew McIntyre hits the Claymore at the end. He gets the 1, 2, 3, and he begins to celebrate. But Tom, we also forgot to mention that CM Punk is on commentary,
Oh yeah.
which leads. I mean, Drew just cannot help himself. He wants to rub it in to CM Punk's face, and he walks over to the commentator table, and he starts gloating and starts putting the belt up in his face and says some things to CM Punk, and it turns into just, hey, CM Punk's had enough, and
Takes his legs
he
out, takes
takes
off
his
the arm brace,
yep,
hits him with the brace. Then the music hits, outruns Damian Priest, runs out, nails him in the head with the briefcase, throws him in the ring. By the way, HJB mentioned it on the group text. How about them getting that cash in right away? It didn't take 10 minutes for him to cash in. Incredible. He says he wants to cash in. They okay, announce it. He's cashing in. No wait, no nothing. Goes in there, hits him with the finishing move. 1, 2, 3. From what's ironic is you'll see the post. There was a tweet about the days of the titles, the reigns that ended this weekend, and then at the bottom you got Drew McIntyre, 5 minutes 34 seconds or whatever it was.
5:45 and 46 seconds.
But Steph comes out, the music, the entrances with the mummers and the drum line, the Claymore to start the match, the fight, the back and forth, the build, the 1, 2, 3. Drew finally gets his moment. He can't help himself. He goes over, he rubs it into CM Punk's face. CM Punk takes him out. Damian Priest comes out. He catches it. He hits it. 1, 2, 3. And I mean, what a ride just to start that match. Man, that's, you could argue that was match of the weekend.
you could. Uh, and that there's like 3 minutes there, right? Where it and it reappears again at the end of the night, and we'll talk about that match too, the main event. But it those moments are things that really make what wrestling like we always talk about the pop, like that big pop, and we certainly got one with Damian Priest, who, I mean, obviously he's not a fan favorite, but it's just that moment really is what the WWE universe is looking for, right? They know he has this Money in the Bank briefcase that he hasn't cashed in over almost a year, and it's like,
Right.
when is he going to do it? It's just,
We've
and
been
they're
talking on the show. Is it possible that he just never cashes in and he's the first person to never cash in? Because
yeah,
you just think, are they gonna put a title on this guy? And good for him. Good on you. Winning that belt. And like there can't be a better high than that. Coming
no,
out at WrestleMania and cashing in and winning a championship match. No
no.
way.
Well, I mean, I think that was the last person that did that was Seth Rollins, wasn't it?
At WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Has a female done it? No, I think that's the last one. But Tim, anything else you want to say on that match and that story? And we're gonna come back to the development of CM Punk. Well, let's talk about it now.
Well, hold on. Well,
Something
hold
okay,
on. Just no, just real quick. I just want to reiterate what you said about Seth Rollins. In If you think about it, Tom, like this whole thing was in jeopardy, right? When he gets injured.
right,
And we're sitting here going like, "Oh my God, you lost Punk. You just lost Seth Rollins. Lesnar's nowhere to be found."
right.
And for him to get himself back into shape and go through therapy and get, did he get surgery? I think he got the surgery,
Yeah,
right?
surgery, yep.
He got the surgery, and to get himself ready. I mean, look at WrestleMania as a whole and how integral of a part that he played in pretty
Right.
much everything. And you said it, he's a workhorse. The guy just does everything um for
In
the
fact, he was
company.
involved the most
Yeah,
of
yeah,
everyone. I mean,
absolutely.
3 matches he was involved in.
Yeah. And it's a testament to him and for how far he's come, right? He was the chosen guy back in the day and Triple H and all that stuff, right? And
Right.
goes through the Shield and that whole process, and had to find his own way, and here he is, just and the elation after Cody wins, and we thought, oh my God, like Seth's gonna betray him, and what's gonna happen, and he kept his word, and he stayed true to form, and carried it out and helped Cody win his first title, his first WWE Universal Championship, which was incredible.
Yeah. What a way to start night two. And let's talk about now how they're continuing that storyline with Drew and CM Punk. And this is leading to them obviously having a program for the foreseeable future and is one of the few storylines that we have set right now. A
Yeah.
lot of things changed after this weekend, but that's one thing that stayed the same is that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are still feuding. There needs to be a payoff with that. And you mentioned it briefly, and I'm sorry, just to say this before I forget it. CM Punk injured, Brock Lesnar not available because of his, legal problems. And they still put on the show that they put on. It
Yeah.
just is another testament to WWE being able to continue. The show must go on, and they get through regardless of losing two of their top stars.
Mhm.
Two of their top 5 stars that they have. They put on the biggest WrestleMania of all time without. And so one of those guys, CM Punk, and his feud with Drew McIntyre continues into the following night, Monday night. There's a number one contenders match for the championship that Damian Priest cashed in for. Drew McIntyre going for his finishing move out from underneath the ring. CM Punk grabs his leg, holds him up. Jey Uso gets the win and is now the number one contender for the title. To me, I didn't really care for that Punk underneath the ring coming out. I guess as a fan, we wanted the pop of the music hitting there, and him coming out that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was different. It wasn't terrible. Uh, just like I guess a preference, and I think the casual fan would prefer that too. But I'm looking very much forward to this feud continuing because Drew is as good as he's ever been on the mic, and you know Punk is one of the best on the mic. So
Mm.
I don't know if we're sure of a timetable yet for Punk's return.
Well, that's the question I had is he's got to be close if he's getting involved in this stuff physically, right? He has to be close. The other question that was brought up on our text line with the HJB is the contract status with
Of
Drew.
Drew. Yes.
Now, we don't know whether or not he's signed or he's not signed, but I can't imagine them building out this program without him being fully invested into what's going on because it truly is it's crazy to think that he gets a 5 minute run with the belt and this whole CM Punk like merchandising that he's doing with the t-shirts, right? And it's just this whole thing where he's just borderline obsessed with CM Punk, right?
Right.
Uh and it begs the question, is he already signed? It's just not announced because I don't think they go heavy into this unless he is here long term because there's got to be some retribution for him at the end of all this. Like, hey, you're going to win the belt, but you're going to win it for 3 minutes or 5 minutes and 46 seconds. And then you're going to start this thing with CM Punk, right? And I think at some point Punk's going to get the. I don't know. I'm not going to go ahead and predict it down the road. We just got done WrestleMania. I don't think I can do
Do
that.
you want me to book the next 6 months, Tim?
You do make a habit of
I
that.
would say that Drew, I would say if they aren't close to his deal being done, they wouldn't have had him even win. They would have Seth been cashed in. Someone like have Damian cash in on like Seth wins, Drew cheats, and then you know what I mean? Like you don't want the guy to beat Seth because he beat Seth clean. Wasn't like a any like foul play or anything that I can remember.
No,
And you wouldn't have him do that have you if you weren't signing him. And I don't know if you'd have him have the feud with CM Punk either because if he's going to go anywhere else, you would assume it's AEW if he doesn't sign with WWE. And to hate on CM Punk there too would be welcome if you see what they're doing. What a joke that's turned into.
right. All
But
right. Yeah,
so,
no.
how about we talk about now? We just mentioned Jey Uso wins the number one contenders match for the new heavyweight champion, Damian Priest.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Yeet versus No Yeet, Jimmy versus Jay, Saturday night. And Timmy, I think we will both agree that this was the most disappointing match of the weekend. And not because it was so terrible, and I'm not even saying like I think they messed up, the super kicks after super kick after super kick after super kick after super kick. There was no like real stipulation on the match. It felt like a cage or a cell would be awesome with this match because it was such a like, a deep story of a brother training another brother and their bloodline, whatever. Um, it's just that like what was I gonna say? Damn it, I lost my train of thought, Timmy. I'm the
No, well,
worst.
just hey, no. I mean, you're on the right track though, because look, no one's saying that it was a terrible
But
match,
the
right?
build, we thought it was going to be amazing, I guess is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
I was
the
expecting
right,
5 star, if not like close to it. And
yeah,
it wasn't that. It was like it was a mid match. It's just mid.
because you have brother versus brother, and these guys that have been wrestling with each other for years, for a decade plus, right? They know each other inside and out. There should have been some other program. And we talk about who produces these matches and stuff like that. And Tom, I think during the match, we both turned to each other and we're like, "Man, this is kind of like just slow. Like, what's going on here?" Like, we just felt like it lacked something, right?
Right.
And the super kick after super kick after super kick just didn't do it for me. And I felt like they were just trying to create like this who can withstand more, right? Going back and forth. And it just didn't add up for me. It didn't make much sense. Especially with these two guys. They're so athletic. They have so much more capability than what they showed in the match. And people are even saying like, "Hey man, the 30 seconds on the ramp during the main
The
event
main
on
event of
night two
Sunday
was
was
better than
best.
their match." Yeah, it's just
Yes.
and it's a shame that that's how it went down. I wonder if they let them run it back again. Um, with this whole situation, maybe for a belt or something like that in the future, because I'm sure they're probably regretting, the way that whole thing played out a little bit.
Maybe
If it,
maybe Jimmy costs him the championship match again, and it's like here we go again, and this time we're gonna have it be, some sort of a stipulation. You would
yeah,
think they would have that, but we did talk about how the WrestleMania was coming close, and like we're getting closer, and we're getting closer, and we're getting closer, and it was like, you know, we know, like we feel like we're gonna get this match, but it hasn't really like they haven't put a major emphasis on it leading right up to WrestleMania. Obviously, there's the backstory,
right,
but maybe now after is what we get with that, you
yeah.
know?
I felt like they did. So like what we got with LA Knight and AJ Styles is something similar to what we should have gotten with Jay and Jimmy Uso. I'm not saying like, like that whole program, but like it got more personal, right? There was a lot more attacks on each other, right? Like, and it's easier for that to happen when you're on the same brand, right? Like
Right.
it's tough to do that when Jimmy's on SmackDown and Jay's on Raw because you know how it works, Tom. You can't cross brands at all.
Never cross branding. And so I guess that's all I want to say about that. We still, big fans of Jey Uso, and we're excited to see where this story is going to go. And I want to talk on two matches real quickly. Um, One that you just brought up, I want to talk about AJ Styles and LA Knight, and I kind of want to touch these ones quickly, and then I want to talk about Damage Control versus Naomi, uh, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill. So these matches, I would say, you know, were kind of the forgettable matches of the weekend. I enjoyed LA Knight versus AJ Styles, but I just there when I think of all the matches, it's like kind of one that I didn't really like. I never was like wow or anything. It didn't get that emotion from me personally, and then obviously Damage Control, Jade Cargill, Naomi. So it was nice to give those guys a spot. I'm glad that they are using Jade Cargill more. She's used again last night on Raw.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that LA Knight got the win at WrestleMania. So let's try to put a little more emphasis back into LA Knight because he's a huge star. And I think a lot of people are taking a break. Seth, I think, is going to be gone for a little bit. CM Punk's still recovering. Roman, I feel like, will be gone for a little while. The Rock is going to be gone for a little while. So now's LA Knight's chance again. He had a great year. Let's amp it up even further this time. And Jay Cargill, still a little skeptical of her in ring. It's
Yeah, they're giving her the Goldberg treatment right now, where she just does her two moves, and there hasn't been much really flexibility within the ring, in terms of her, um, just her, like you said, her in-ring capabilities and things of that nature. We're seeing power from her, which is great, and we're seeing her, which is great. Now let's see her, in a longer match, right, where there's sustainability and there's a build throughout the match instead of her just coming in and basically doing a spear and a jackhammer and that's it.
yeah.
The LA Knight thing, just want to comment on that. A little bit of an anticlimactic finish there. I mean, look, AJ, I thought he performed well. I thought the match was really good, in my opinion. I
You're
watched
right.
now.
It's better than I gave it credit there. So
Yeah,
it was better than I gave it credit there, but I guess my point is the emotion of it wasn't grabbing me, the story of it.
yeah, yeah. No, I can get that.
I like their stuff at the convention center. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And another thing for WWE, as we've mentioned in the past, they've gotten much better at their socials with that stuff.
But the one takeaway again for me is that LA Knight's stock is just still as hot as ever, dude. I mean, that entire match, anytime he landed a punch, a kick, It was, yeah, yeah. It was so loud and so palpable. It's just fun to be involved in those matches because yeah, they're eliciting responses from the crowd and it's not dying off, which means that he's still obviously meaningful in the WWE universe, that he still is a draw, and that there's more for him to come. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I do want to say something. I know we talked about Jay last night when I was attending with my friends, and they're kind of casual friends, like or casual fans, casual friends. So the one guy I don't really know that much, but they both turned to me and said, man, this guy is the most over guy in the company right now. And they were talking about Jay Uso. So I guess the vibing and them seeing that and like they were like, dude, the whole building was just vibing with him, like, you know, doing that thing.
Speaking,
And every yeet was like like the yeet. They were like they loved yeet. Like it's just funny to me that the casual fan like thinks he's the most over guy in the company right now.
well, I will also say that I was happy to see the HJB finally got to vibe with Jey Uso.
A dreams do come true.
It happened. Yeah, Robbie or HJB finished his story.
How dare you say his real name, you son of a bitch.
Oh
No one's
God.
supposed to know who the HJB is. Yeah, Robbie finally got to finish his story. That's great, Tim. You're right. He got the vibe with the Yeet Master himself. Wow, incredible vibe. It is fun to see that crowd. And maybe you know what, in the story I'll post that video I showed you earlier of everyone. It was pretty sick at Raw. But I just thought it was interesting that the casual fan was saying that they thought he was the most over guy in the company. And he is very over, but all right. So we've talked about a lot. Now I want to get to the Intercontinental Championship match. This match, I'm gonna say the match of the night from Saturday. I feel like this is where I'll say I thought there was a little bit of an issue with the microphones.
Hmm.
When you're in the stadium, and I don't know what you could hear at home because I haven't rewatched this one back on TV yet, but you couldn't hear Sammy was talking with his wife and his kid, and they were trying to
Yeah.
hype him up, and then he keeps walking, and then he talks to Chad Gable, who's saying you can do this, you keep going, do your thing. Then he goes and sees KO, and the crowd went crazy when that happened, and he saw KO. And that Matt and him coming out. So that's why I will say they kind of screwed up with the microphones there. At least at the stadium, we could not hear it. I don't know what you could hear at home. The match itself, we knew it was going to be Gunther doesn't miss. His matches are always like that. And Sami Zayn is one of the top in-ring guys in the business. And they were asking me about him last night too. And I said, look, I know he doesn't have the size appeal, but character, Mike, in-ring ability, he's as good as it gets. And two WrestleManias in a row with incredible moments. This match was hard hitting as Gunther's always is. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of, false finishes. Who's going to win? He can't, no way he's going to beat Gunther. Sami Zayn, haluva kick. He catches him before he's going to hit him with the splash. And 1, 2, 3, the place goes crazy. The longest Intercontinental Championship reign of all time comes to an end. Timmy, what did you think of this match in this moment? I think the highlight of like storyline in WWE on Saturday night.
Yeah. And this is one, Tom, going back that you can see this was a quick build with this, right? Because we didn't know who Gunther was going to face right up until basically like a month and a half ago.
Right.
And then this build with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable and all that stuff that
And we
that came,
wanted Gable.
yeah,
Jabroni Drive wanted Gable.
yeah,
And
and that came together pretty quick. Now, to get to the match, so what I'm trying to say is it didn't really have the storyline that, let's say like the Drew Seth's match, or any of the other matches really for that matter. But they threw it together quick. But this is a match for me, Tom, that is so different when you watch it at home versus seeing it live. Okay. seeing it live, there were so many little things that I missed when I went back and watched it at home. And I was like, dude, when I watched that match live, I said, man, that was a really good match. I loved the finish and all that stuff, but there was the brain buster that we couldn't really see that he does in the corner on Gunther, where he hits the turnbuckle. You
Oh
couldn't really see
yeah.
that.
Oh my God. That was crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Holy moly. Yeah, we were like, whoa. And it almost looked like it was a mistake.
right.
And I love when they do stuff like that, when it's a move where you're like, did that was that supposed to happen?
Yeah, it looked like a botch.
High risk.
Yeah, it was a very high risk move, and uh, it had what they did was at the with this storyline, the very end, they heading into Philadelphia was like a week prior. They built this whole like Rocky kind of segment, and that match really kind of followed suit because Sammy obviously was the underdog in this matter, and at the end of this match, what I loved was Sammy absolutely got decimated. I mean, dude, he took a beating. I think it was like two splashes, a lariat. I think he took like three power bombs. It was just bananas how much pain Gunther was inflicting on him. And the one thing that Gunther used to do with a lot of his matches was you knew that it was the end of the match when he would hit you with the lariat, or he'd just be like, all right, enough's enough. I'm just gonna finish this dude and it's gonna be over with. He continued to really like kind of inflict pain and give it to Sammy credit. I mean, he kicked out of a bunch of those things, right? The power bomb and stuff like that.
Right.
But the telling moment, the greatest moment for me of this match, and this is why you can relate to Sammy because he's a very likable individual. You really
Yes.
want to root for this guy. He's been through a lot in the past, right? With the loss of Roman Reigns in his hometown. And he's sitting there, he's laying on the mat as Gunther goes out for his last splash. And Gunther's talking shit to his wife, right? Like, I'm just gonna
Right.
end him. And you look in the ring, and Sammy is basically spazzing on the floor of the ring, and
Hulking
he's
up.
and he's hulking up. Yeah, that's what he basically was doing. He's like psyching himself up, right? Like this is not going down, and like I will not, be denied in this type of moment right here. And that's when like Gunther goes up for the splash, and he hits him with the haluva kick, then the brain buster, and then he gets the haluva again and gets the 1, 2, 3. It was just a really well done finish, right? And to end that, well, I think it was 661 days,
666 days. 666.
666 days, that Gunther was Intercontinental champion, and that was just what a run by him, seriously. And
Yes.
and
Major
we
props to Gunther.
and we've said this for probably
A
6 months
year?
now, 8 months now, that hey, it might be time for him to move on and join the ranks for that heavyweight title or even the Universal Championship. And I think we're going to see that out of Gunther moving forward because he is just a star. He is a force to be reckoned with, and not that the Intercontinental title, isn't suitable for him because he certainly elevated that title. Um, it's just a matter of where his stardom can go. I think
Right.
that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah. And that's what I'm taking. Incredible match. Glad Sammy got another moment there. Um, he just does a great job of wanting you, like making you want to cheer for him. And the match now announced between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. We cannot wait for that match. Two of the best in ring. That's going to be incredible. Gunther, we want you in the main event in the heavyweight universal undisputed championship wherever in that realm. I want you against Cody. I want you against Damian Priest or whomever will become the champion there. Gunther needs to be in the main title, and he will be an incredible champion, a great person to have a face chase for the title, and hopefully another long reign there. So I can't wait for to see where Gunther's headed and where they're going to take him because This guy, like we said earlier, he doesn't miss. His matches are just always top notch. Incredible stuff. All right, let's get to the six pack tag match. A lot of fun. Loved this match. My favorite part from this match, the hot tag from R-Truth. There's
Mhm.
no tagging in this match if you aren't aware. R-Truth then stands on the side, puts his hand out, waiting for a tag, gets the tag from Miz, comes in, hits him with Cena's moves, goes for the pin. One, two, three. The place was going crazy. I mean, what a fun moment. And R-Truth, we've knocked him for being too goofy, and I feel like that's his downfall, is that he can't get that seriousness, whether it's him or the company. But man, this was so like that was so funny. And then I was cheering for them. They get a belt, and as we both predicted, A-Town Down Under takes the other belt. They split the championship belts. This is huge. This is big. Like, this is big news. And it's finally they did it. We said either combine them or split them. Whatever it is, just do it. They split them now. So there'll be a tag team champion on SmackDown and a tag team champion on Raw. I'd like to see some new belts as well. I'm not in love with these championship belts. I feel like they're not.
Yeah, I
That
mean, we're Triple H has talked about the a new era, and I think it's certainly time for a facelift on those belts. You know that I was just so tired of like tag teams carry like that won those belts, right? Like the Usos first, and then Damian Priest, like and KO. Like you're carrying four belts to the ring. Like it was just ridiculous. Like let's kind of let's give those a facelift and move on with it. It's really nice to see though, and I know it's a tag team title. And it's kind of uh, I don't know if it's worthy or not, but the Miz gets rewarded right with a belt, and it's been a little while for him, but he has done some excellent work over the course of the last year since I've been watching. Really just with programs with LA Knight and just like yeah, just putting different characters over, right? Like just different wrestlers and being a part of really building what this is. And he's done it time and time again. He's being asked to do certain things. The R-Truth stuff, obviously, too, as well. He's certainly deserving of a title. And I'm glad to see him with a tag team title with R-Truth.
Yeah, Miz, Timmy, I believe you named him the most underrated wrestler in WWE last year, one of your most underrated wrestlers, and totally underrated. Everything they ask him to do, whether it be promos, helping elevate another character, help, fighting
Host
against a top tier guy. He did it all. He helped LA Knight elevate him. He does all the media stuff. He was with Gunther and did a great package with him. I mean, he does it all. And now with R-Truth, they're entertaining. There's no doubt about it. Miz is entertaining. So I'm excited to see them. I'd like to see them now, I guess, face off. They've been going against Judgment Day. I'm kind of tired of that. Maybe like an Imperium or something like that, another heel to maybe take it off of them or to feud with. And then A-Town Down Under. I guess I'd want to see them go against the Street Profits or AOP if they're
oh
doing anything over
j-
there.
just two spots I wanted to call out during that tag team match. I'll give credit to Waller for taking that bump onto the ladder outside
Oh
where
yeah.
he gets power bombed essentially. And then like of course the man, the myth, the legend, the well, we got to come up with a nickname for JD McDonough.
Yeah, we knew when those tables were set up. Well, JD's going through those tables. I don't think he was even out there yet, and we're said
No, yeah.
that's it for JD.
He comes out to interrupt the match and obviously gets stuck up on the ladder and does a 25-foot fall through
He missed the
tables.
one,
Yeah.
and it goes through. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And he then wrestled again last night. I mean, the guy, he's paying his dues, and good on him. Good on him, JD. Yeah, Timmy. Good. I'm glad you brought those up because it is funny. We were sitting there, and as soon as those tables are set up, we're like, "Who's going through those?" And we were all like, "JD."
Mhm.
All right. Incredible. That was a great fun match. Big pop for Truth when the tag, the 1, 2, 3, and getting the belts, and then
And
the
that's
young talent with the A-Town Down Under. I'm glad to see them have the belts too, because those guys, whether you like it or not, have put everybody over for the last year. They've just been taking L after L after L and just getting embarrassed every which way and really paying their dues as well. So I'd like to see them kind of get into a meaningful storyline and see if they can really, but like if they can do it, because they have the ability, especially Theory in ring. Can he develop a character that is an emotion grabbing character? We'll see. Um, all right, so I mentioned the Street Profits. So let's talk about that match. Really cool moment. They announce Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray, as the guest referee. We're in
for the
Philadelphia.
for the
He's one of the
Philadelphia street fight.
ECW Mount Rushmore. And it was awesome that they did that and the pop and the whole place yelling ECW and giving props to what we grew up watching and that revolution that really changed the game as far as professional wrestling goes. And then the match is just a lot of fun. Wasn't too long, hard hitting. You have the shout out to the Dudley boys with the what's up, and you're going through tables and stuff like that. I like this match a lot, and I think it served its purpose. It gave everyone their WrestleMania moments, and it was quick, it was fun, and they got to be out there.
Tom, you're missing out. I mean, look, it's, I you got to go back. So like these are matches that you really have to and it's look, dude,
I
you've
do have
you've
to
been
rewatch them.
you've been on quite the wrestling tear here over the course of the
I just
last
haven't
three
had
days.
time. I haven't had
Yeah.
time to watch them.
Um, so these matches, when there's multiple people involved, right? When you're watching them live, you just don't get to see everything, and that's why, like, it's hard to catch up on some things, right? And that match in itself, the Philadelphia Street Fight was really cool because at the very end of that match, um, so Bubba Ray Dudley, goes for a count, right? And Karrion Cross gets pissed off. He's like, yeah, you only counted it two. That was a three count. And he pushes Bubba Ray Dudley into the corner, and Bubba Ray goes, "You're right. I'm sorry." And goes into his pocket and pulls out his glasses
Oh,
with
yeah. Like the old Bubba
yeah
Ray glasses
with
with
the
the
tape
tape in the
on it.
middle. Yeah.
And then during that match, at the end of the match, after everyone's on down and stuff like that, I think Karrion Cross was laying on the ground, and Bubba Ray starts coaching him how to do the headbutt off the top rope, and he goes spread the legs wider, spread. It was just real, and then all of a sudden they start hitting each other, and they say get the tables, and they go and get the table, which is funny because they get the first table and they set Karrion Cross up
Oh
on,
yeah, and it collapsed.
and it collapsed and broke, and everyone started they started booing them, and they went out and
You
got another
fucked
table.
up. You
Yeah.
fucked up. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the crowd was awesome, man. There was so many like interesting, funny chants going on throughout the entire two nights. Credit to the Philadelphia crowd and to some of those innovative chants that they came across. I hope, and they did come across through the broadcast too, because I went back and watched it too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
but
gonna
good match
rewatch
all.
it this week for sure, and because it's like almost like seeing it new again, the way you describe it. So I'm excited to do that. Anything else you want to say from this match, Tim, before we move on?
No, I mean it's been. I don't know if this is going to carry over at all, but it seems like that program has run its course, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is done, and you got Lashley finally gets a W, and so do the Street Profits. Let's have them move on now, and maybe go after these tag titles,
But I
and
still love.
uh and
I
do
still
something there.
I still love what the Final Testament is and how they look and just that whole union there. I do like where they're headed with that, right? I think it does have some cachet, and I think it has some standing power here moving forward. So hopefully they build that up into something bigger.
Right. And you could have the draft isn't far away. So they might be on different brands after the draft. I have a feeling that this year the draft is going to be done better than it has been in years past. And before we get to the draft, we'll certainly break that down and how we would like to see it done. I guess this is a great time to give a shout out to none other, and he had his Hall of Fame speech on Friday night. ECW, the creator, the legend, the new Hall of Famer, the wise man, Paul Heyman. What like it was so cool that this happened in Philadelphia for him to get
Mm.
the credit that he deserves. And I think you had mentioned it early on the show, but him saying putting over Triple H the way he did
Yeah.
was something that it was a theme of this weekend. And remind me of that to me because I do want to talk about that for a second. But I just want to give Paul Heyman his props. We love Paul Heyman. And he well deserved, Timmy. It was cool to see all that stuff.
Yeah, he's such a polarizing figure over the course of wrestling in itself. And yeah, when you listen to his Hall of Fame speech, man, he gives people credit, and yeah, he points out certain things in his career. And um the one thing, he is passionate about wrestling, and he was passionate about doing it in a different manner, in a different way. And what he did with ECW really revolutionized wrestling. And for the most part, people believe that it spearheaded really the Attitude Era.
Totally.
Because yeah, that's something that people, it was cool. Like, people were tuning into this small promotion in Philadelphia, and we're just curious as to what it was. And a lot of these wrestlers came from ECW, guys that still have careers to this point. I mean, Rey Mysterio was in ECW for a little while, obviously Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, Shane Douglas, like all these dudes that just
Bubba Ray Dudley, the
the
Dudley
Dudley
boys,
brothers. Yeah. Um, and
Taz, Bam Bam, the whole crew, Chris
yeah,
Jericho.
yep. But they all had stints in ECW, and have gone on to bigger and better things. But
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
yeah,
Holy
yeah,
shit. That was basically where the promos and the development there was the beginnings of the actual character that Stone Cold became and really tapping into who he was and putting that magnifying glass on that character happened in ECW. And ECW is not possible without Paul Heyman. And he also mentioned, and he's mentioned in interviews in the past this weekend, that there's only one city that ECW could have happened in, and it's like a badge of honor that it was happening here in Philadelphia. All right, Timmy, I did say something about all the props that Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, has been getting. It's easy to be giving him. Everyone's happy right now.
yep.
Everything is as good as it gets right now, and they've been through some bad times, and so they're on the other side of it. Everyone's happy. I'm curious to see where everyone would be when we're not breaking all the records that we were. Just something I wanted to think about for a second. Like, we're breaking every record we've ever had. We've sold out like 20 shows in a row of the televised shows. WrestleMania, the biggest gate of all time. And maybe when things start to go, maybe another company comes in, and who knows? It's nothing's definite. So just an interesting thing to think about, a lot of props now, but I guess you
Well,
see people.
I certainly feel a lot more comfortable with him in charge of creative, and the direction that it's heading in, because there's not a lot of things, save one, that I really had any complaints about. And Tom, I think you know which one that is. And
Mm.
we still don't know why Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes, but
Well,
um
that's what The Rock handed to Cody. The
that's just
explanation.
that's
This is why Brock attacked you. You know what it is.
so look, there's gonna be failures. You can't hit on everything, right? You're not gonna bat 1,000. So I would say, Tom, enjoy it. Don't complain about it. Let's keep the cash cow coming. Let's keep the money trading rolling, and let's just enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, just buckle up and go on the ride that Triple H is gonna take you on. All right, let's
Worst
get to
case
the
worst
what?
case scenario, they can just air, footage of CM Punk doing something backstage and try to get ratings that way.
Oh, what a joke. I mean, if you haven't heard it, Tony Khan has decided to tomorrow night he's going to be, and they probably will get a ratings bump for sure because of this. But if it is really what they're doing, it's so like cringe is the word that they would say, right? It's just, it's bad business. You think other wrestlers are going to see that and be like, oh, that's where I want to go.
Oh
Where
yeah, because
you're a wrestler that's going to be a free agent, or you are a free agent, or you're developing. Which company do you want to go to? I mean, it's
it
not even tough.
it could so it could happen to anyone backstage, right? Like there's cameras rolling at all times, and like all of a sudden, like you're just gonna start rolling footage and putting it out in the public on like maybe someone makes a mistake or says something or gets in an altercation or does this or does that. And it's almost like blackmail in a way, right? Like,
Yes. Yes, it is.
and it's frustrating. And then I also saw like, look, after all these records that they're setting, and yeah, I saw or he put out a statement saying like AEW still has the highest ticket sales of all time, 81,000. Like it's like, okay, dude,
Yeah.
all right, just take your ball and go home, man. Like he's like the little kid playing with GI Joes that won't let anyone else play with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
It's like
That was one
whatever.
night, dude. They just did over 200,000. It's not even close.
Yeah,
Um, and this is just a shot at CM Punk's interview. And if I'm gonna be fair, Punk's interview, it's very one-sided as his usually are, and as a lot of people's usually are, and not maybe the most professional thing too, but he just opened up, so that was kind of cool too. So kind of hard to say. If I would no sell it if I was Tony Khan, I just would not even address it. Like he's a blip. He's not in our business anymore. Okay, let's get to the night. The matches started the night Saturday. Let's talk about Mommy versus the Man, Becky Lynch. Um, Great entrances for this. Loved the live band for Rhea Ripley. That was badass. Um, both women came out and looked good. And rumors are that Becky Lynch fought in this match with 102 fever the night before. And kudos to her for that. Incredible match. You know, it was going to be hard for Rhea Ripley to duplicate the match her and Charlotte had last year and have a match as that high caliber. I don't think it was there. It was right there though. It was very good. I have to watch it on rewatch to really see, but I thought the match was great. A great start to Saturday night. Both women were incredible, and I really enjoyed it. And obviously, very happy that Mommy came out on top, as she always does. Timmy, your thoughts on the match?
yeah. I thought it was a good tone setter for the night and to start out WrestleMania weekend. It was really good. The entrance was awesome. Um, from Mommy, as you stated, with the live music. What I love about Mommy too is that she sings literally every word on the way
Yes.
down. And I love that. Like she's so into that song, and it's her, it's all part of her story, and it's great. Of her, not story, but her character. I keep on saying story. Cody's got me all over the place. Um, but yeah, they really kicked off WrestleMania um well. And you mentioned Charlotte. They're just Charlotte and Becky aren't the same wrestler. Charlotte is way more capable of doing things that more athletically, I think, than than Becky, and it just doesn't really match up well. Not it doesn't match up well. It's just what I'm trying to say is like their athleticism. Rhea and Charlotte are both almost very similar in stature, same size, stuff like that, right? So, and it's just like, look, dude, Charlotte is the goat, dude. She is unbelievable, and she can do so many different things. And it was going to be tough to live up to that hype. So, really nice match for both ladies. I know we have a tendency to shit on Becky a little bit here, but she really did perform in that match, and it was really well done.
Now, I don't know if this is what's going to happen, but I feel like she's also taking some time off. Um, I didn't love her entrance with reading notes from the book, the book that she's pressing that she's trying to sell. It's just, and hey, and good on her. It's I think a New York Times bestseller. her book was, and so that's kudos to her. I didn't love that they were just reading these different articles from the book. I'm like, okay, you're selling the book, you're selling the book. But I wasn't in love with her character development over the last couple weeks. She came off whiny, she came off hypocritical, and it just wasn't the idea if she's supposed to be the face. I don't know what they were like. I guess mommy's tough because she does heel like stuff, but she's a face. Everyone loves Rhea Ripley. So I don't know if they're trying to just embrace that and Becky, hey, you got to say whatever it is you want to say. Mommy's over and there's nothing you can do about it. So we're hoping that mommy holds the belt for I would love to see her hold it till next WrestleMania again and really become like the longest reigning champion for women's of all time and see what happens there. Great match and yeah, I'm excited to see where she heads. One of the funniest things from Monday night, Judgment Day comes out. Then they announce Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest with his new entrance music, which I thought was it was all right. But they say, let's acknowledge all the or like let's hear it for all the winners of Judgment Day that got titles and then out from under the ring and he sneaks in. Truth holds up the tag title with them. Oh, major pop. That was hilarious. And then he says, I brought the tag titles back to the Judgment Day. And like you're not in the Judgment Day, the whole thing, the whole funny shtick is still going on. That made me laugh, that was entertaining. It's not the storyline that I love, but that was entertaining. So I did want to mention that. And they had a fun match on Monday Night Raw, and out comes John Cena to help with the win. Now we got total cartoon Cena, total goof Cena that I
You
just
love.
I can't get on like I just can't get on board with that. And I love John Cena, but come on. It just he looks like a cartoon character out there.
Well, he's also in jorts and a t-shirt. I mean, it's just he's 50 whatever years old, 52 years old, and he's still wearing this stuff. It's like, all right.
I
I
said to
mean,
the HJB, I said, we're watching Pat McAfee and they're at the convention center. And I'm like, do you think he hates putting on that hat and shirt? Like the baby blue, orange, white hat matching with the wristbands and stuff
I
like
mean,
God.
think about it. Stone Cold wears the same thing. He just looks better. It's just
Yeah.
it's Tom. I got a little bit of breaking news for you, Tom.
Uh-oh. Oh
And
no,
you,
what?
Tom, and you know on this show, Tom, we really set our standards high, Tom. When we put our minds to something, we really try to execute on it. I mean, we try to change the game, change the industry, Tom.
Okay. What's happening?
And it sounds like the WWE management has listened to us because Ivar has shown up without his Viking stuff on in NXT and is wrestling in jeans and a t-shirt at this point right now.
You're kidding me. Todd?
Todd is alive NXT in a t-shirt, a vest, and jeans.
Oh my gosh, Tim. Last night when he was on main event, I was yelling, his name is Todd. His name is, he's not a Viking. I was screaming it down there. I was trying to get the save Ivar going. Like, this is the worst gimmick ever. Wow. Finally.
I
See, you
think
know what? We're
I think
growing and it's
Tom,
showing.
I think we hashtag saved Ivar.
We hashtag saved Ivar. Oh wow. Congratulations to Todd for finally maybe getting to be a real person and not some fictional Viking raider that
I
doesn't exist. There aren't Vikings anymore, are there? There's
don't think so.
pirates, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
they'll have
definitely
him come out
pirates.
with an eye patch and a parrot on his shoulder next. It'll be incredible. All right, let's keep going. Match I want to talk about had a fun ending. I don't want to go too deep into this match, but we had the LWO with Rey Mysterio and Andrade El Idolo versus Dirty Dom and Santos Escobar.
Hmm.
Um, Decent match. I thought it was cool. I like Andrade a lot. I don't know if he's able to pull that emotion out of people yet. I mean, it's very early in his comeback with WWE, but I'd like to see where that character can go. I thought Escobar had taken
Motion. What are
steps.
you kidding me? He already pulled emotion out. He was set to join Legado and Fantasma, and then he switched his allegiances to LWO. I was blown away by that.
No way.
I couldn't
Um,
believe it. Oh, in
so
2 weeks.
but a really cool spot and another like a little shout out to Philadelphia. We had two masked men come out wearing looked like Eagles luchador masks and big guys. They come out and they help um the LWO get the win. None other after they're standing in the ring, they rip off their masks to reveal Mr. Lane Johnson and Mr. Jason Kelsey there to save the day. Huge pop by the Philadelphia crowd. Fun moment, and this is the stuff that WWE does that's just like it's just cool, you know. It's nice that they do that. On the flip side too, they showed George Kittle who got booed out of the building 2 nights in a row
There you go.
because he's in the wrong place. But good on him for being a big WWE fan. He's been at a lot of events in the past, but it was fun to see the Eagles players
How about
out
how about
there.
how about Kelsey getting into the ring? He hopped over that rope big time, dude.
Yo, and
He's got
Lane Johnson looks I mean, he's got the size, you know?
he's they got some bunnies there. It was pretty it's pretty athletic by them guys. Well, we know Kelsey's an athlete, so but
Yeah,
anyway.
but him jumping over like that and like every time you know, and Lane, I was like, oh boy, for a big guy, I mean, that is impressive stuff, you know? It's
Yeah.
like to jump over the top rope like that. But a fun moment for Philadelphia and definitely a nice pop and kind of another thing that they throw a little love to the Philadelphia crowd. All right, let's move on to the second night. I think we only have a couple matches left. Let's talk about the triple threat match. This was a match that I really enjoyed, and I don't know if you have yet, but I feel like this is one that I must watch on TV because there was so much that happened in this match. Some of the best out. KO is one of the best in the biz right now. Logan Paul is one of the fastest rising stars and natural professional wrestlers and entertainers that we've ever seen in the WWE. And those two guys put on the show, and Orton was there too. And no, but really cool match. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. We predicted Logan Paul would come out as the winner and keep his title, and he did. Smart, his social media presence, his draw, his his light is shining and his stock is rising. You got to keep the title on him for a long time. Every match will mean more and more and more. And they showed out. I loved this match. I loved everything. I liked Paul's entrance. I could do with a little less prime commercials, like every 2 minutes they were, throwing someone through prime, hitting with prime, drinking prime, 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 prime. But hey, that's the biz, you know?
That is the biz. Nah, it was fun. And you're right, you have to watch that match on TV because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like KO stuff that and Randy Orton stuff that was really funny during that match.
Oh
S-
yeah, when at one point he like they were both like, "Oh, we'll do this," and then he kind of went at him, and he's like, "What was that? Like, what were you
yeah,
doing?" He's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't, you know."
yeah, like I think they agreed not to hit each other, and then Randy went for the RKO, and KO caught him, and you heard the "you fucked up" chant. It was
And
really
he was
good.
like, "Fucked up, I messed
Yeah,
up. It's
yeah,
on me."
yeah. But like, yeah, the athleticism that Logan Paul and even Sami Zayn, or not Sami Zayn, even KO, man, he does a moonsault and lands it
Yes,
perfectly. Like he is for a big guy, for a bigger guy, pear-shaped man. He is incredibly
he
athletic.
shouldn't be able to do the things that he can do.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
looking at him, you're like, "No way," and then he just wows you. It's like, man, this guy's incredible, and he'll do anything.
Well, Tom, you said you didn't like the Prime thing, and the Prime mascot got RKO'd on the table. Did you like that?
Yeah, well, who didn't see that coming? We were on that too, It's like, yeah, sometimes the predictability is a little rough, but it was a fun spot. You let Randy get some motion there. I mean, I hate to say it, the way he moves, it's just you can't imagine there's too much left. And maybe they'll try to build for him and Cena to finally have their one-off at the end of their careers. It would be really cool to see their last match be against each other. The years that they came up together in OVW and developmental, and then debuted in WWE, and obviously both are tied with Ric Flair for the most titles held in WWE, and just the history they've had. It would be an amazing feud. They never fought at WrestleMania, and I think that's something maybe we have build until next year, and that would be something I'd be in on because the story for that would be awesome. Maybe make it a career match. Loser has to retire kind of thing would be pretty cool for me. But like we said, Logan Paul comes out on top. Everyone everyone looks good. KO is untouchable. It seems like he could lose, and it doesn't really matter. He still like stays at the top, and Randy is a made man as well. So important for them to keep this on Logan Paul and help him continue to elevate that United States championship. Is that good? Did I sum that up
Yeah, you did well. You did really well there.
pretty well? All right. So
You deserve a prime.
I'm in my prime. So we're going to talk about one more match before we get to the main events. And I would say that this match was the surprise for me of the weekend. And I guess my expectations were so low for it that it couldn't do anything but exceed my expectations. But I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was well done, and kudos to these women for doing what they did. Bailey versus Io Sky. I thought it was a nice match. I'm glad to see Bailey come out on top, have her WrestleMania moment. Another horsewoman that has, now won a title here at WrestleMania and got to showcase herself. I feel like she's going to be good for that title and building that up. It's been lost since Io has had it, but credit to Io for putting on a great match, and I enjoyed it. I really did. So.
Yeah, well, we didn't really get to see Io really defend her title at all for
Yeah, it was like the
the
first time I ever saw her defend it. What was that, her second title defense
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
250 days?
It was time to take it off her. And you know what, Bailey has been a stalwart within the company, and she deserves it. I mean, she's carried really damage control herself, and yeah, they decided to kind of peel her away from that, which is nice. And they give her some new theme music, right? She had a pretty cool entrance to come out to as well. And I think we all had this predicted right that she was going to win this title, and it just you needed to get that belt off of Io Sky. It just didn't make any sense, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that title with the draft coming up. Depends on where she goes, but I'm wondering if this whole Jade Cargill thing and like how she's just dominating people, is she going to be thrust into that championship caliber type match? I don't know if she can handle, a full throttle match yet. Like I think she needs time to build. So I think it's going to take some time for her to actually be considered up in those parts. But um, you still have the women's. We talked about this before, Tom. The women's division is absolutely stacked,
Yeah.
and
And
it'll be
NXT women's is really stacked too. So there's
yeah,
other women that can come up. We've really loved Tiffany Stratton. I
right.
think that she's a star.
I would love to
And
see Naomi get a shot too. Like
yeah.
she seems just like really like look, there's women that aren't really like look, Liv Morgan got some love last night on Raw. Who knows where Alexa Bliss is. Like I don't know if she's ever coming back, but um it's just the women's division though in itself. And Charlotte Flair, she's probably a few months away from getting back. It was a nasty knee injury, but she's walking around. She seems like she's rehabbing, so who knows when she's going to be back. But like you said, like we said, the women's division is stacked, and Tom, I'm really really looking forward to seeing how it all plays out.
I would say, I guess it looks like they're teasing Bianca going because she's still upset about the whole damage control thing. She's mentioned it, mentioned it, mentioned it. You You like I'm not gonna forget all the stuff that we went through when she was, doing this. So I feel like they could go towards that. And Bianca Bailey, I'm in for that. So
Sure.
we'll see what happens. All right. Now it's time for the main event. Let's start with the tag team match from night one. It doesn't get any bigger. You've got Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock. Tag team match. The entrances, the theater, the build, everything's been incredible. The match itself starts, and as is tradition with Roman Reigns' matches, and what's it's smart with Rock, this is his first match in 12 years. You have a slow build, and it's slow, and it was slow, but the last 10 minutes of this match was hitting, was fun, was entertaining, and I had my major concerns with how The Rock would be able to perform in this match. And if there's one spot that is like was an incredible spot when he got rock bottom through the table from one table to the other, that leap backwards to go through the thing is, I mean, that's pure like that is an athlete to be able to do that and make it work and go through. And The Rock, he performed greatly. I thought it was an incredible show for him. Um, I liked the people getting involved. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was fun, and Rock comes out on top, which was setting up for the next night. Tim, what did you think of this match, and any key points you want to touch on?
Yeah, to your point, it was slow. I mean, God, I think one of the guys that we were with counted it was 24 minutes of entrances to
Oh
to really
yeah,
get this thing started, which is which is a lot. But I felt like this match was going to go the way it did, right? I predicted that The Rock and Roman would win this match. There go, uh, you know, engaging that bloodline clause for the next match on Sunday night, which is allowing pretty much everyone in the world. I think I said a lumberjack match. I mean, it wasn't a lumberjack match, but I mean it ended up being pretty close to it. But that I think that was really the way that you tell that story. But I think the one big thing that we take out of this, and if if we're looking at it long term, Tom, if we're looking at it the way that we saw the match finish on Sunday, I think a key moment that we really need to look at is when Roman spears The Rock
yeah,
and misses him, and he misses. I think it was Seth pushes Cody out of the way, and um, Roman then spears The Rock, and yeah, the reactions there, and there's this confusion there, and it's just not that there was any dissension there among the ranks or anything like that, but I can see this kind of coming back into the fray. Yeah, maybe a few months down the line when when The Rock does return, since he said he's leaving for a little bit. Um, but that's something really kind of to play out. But like the other things that we mentioned already, Tom, was how does because like this match was twofold, right? How does Seth come out of this match, right? And then how does it actually end? Because that essentially affected two different matches, right?
right.
So Seth comes out pretty beat up with because they
The
started
knee.
attacking his leg, right? And then on top of that, yeah, you already said about The Rock taking the bump. I thought he looked great in ring. I mean, dude, he's shredded, absolutely shredded.
Yep.
And honestly, for the most part, Roman looked like in the best shape of his life too, as well. Like
Roman looked incredible, as
he
ripped
looked
as you've ever
great.
seen him.
Yeah. And I would say the other thing is with The Rock being tagged in, and he mentions this on Raw to Cody. He said, "Don't forget, I'm the one that pinned you."
Yeah.
Right. And what Roman did was essentially give him the scraps, right? Since he already speared him, right? So he tags in Rock to get the the rock bottom and then the people's elbow, which people love to see. And there's people saying like, "Oh, Cody's getting booed," and because like the Rock attempted the people's elbow and it didn't happen. And I felt that the reason I were booing was because they didn't get to see the people's elbow. It's one of the most electrifying moves, and I mean, it's just
Yeah.
an elbow drop, but people love to see the Rock do
Yeah,
it,
they weren't
right?
like we hate you, Cody. It's just like, no, we wanted to see that, you know?
Right. Yeah. So just those couple things that come out of it, but obviously setting up for Sunday night was the main thing here, and I think they did an excellent job of doing that. There's the the actual camera view of Cody on his knees in the ring, a call back to WrestleMania 39 when he lost the title. And in the background, you can see The Rock and Roman. It was really a cool setup and really something that kind of left us in doubt. I'm like, what's actually going to happen on Sunday night? Will Cody finally finish the story or will Roman Reigns retain and continue his streak?
Yeah, and one thing I did notice too is when Rock was doing the people's elbow, he went like this and kind of like a slit the throat kind of thing, which I think maybe was a call out to what was going to happen, maybe a little foreshadowing of the match the following night, you know? So we get to the following night, and, you know, I felt strongly after Cody had lost on Saturday that he wasn't going to lose on Sunday, but you never know. You know, you're like, I feel like Cody finishes the story now, but yeah, it's WWE and it's Roman Reigns. He's held it for this long, and they found a way. I thought he was gonna break Hogan's record. So the entrances on Sunday night for these two were cinema. You know, Roman Reigns with the choir and the musicians there and the orchestra, and he comes out and just as big as it gets. Cody, I loved Cody's mask. I thought that was so cool, and the way they did it in the like the
So that just
go
saw it. No, I just saw a note that the guy that did Cody's mask also did Bray Wyatt's mask.
really.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure, yeah, you know, I don't know how many that guy has done, but I wonder if he's done like because Triple H has had some crazy ones as
Yep.
well. So I wonder if he's someone that's been with the company for a while or he's just recently started with like are you talking about the Fiend mask? I'm assuming the Fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And it just said like I saw on Twitter that it was it's he said Bray Wyatt's close friend who constructed the Fiend mask also did Cody's mask for WrestleMania.
And these are the
And,
details we're talking about that WWE does. I mean, just like think about that. You know, they have someone constructing the mask for Cody's entrance at WrestleMania is like just one little piece and they tie it all together. So like it's mind-blowing to think the undertaking that it is to get all of this done
the
and have it ready.
And then the other thing at the end of this match, I think I said to you, Tom, I said, why is Brandy Rhodes like in a singlet? Like it was like weird for me. And then I totally forgot that she came down. She came down with the entrance. She took his mask off and
Right.
she was dressed in like the Cody Rhodes, like
Oh, you mean at the very end when they all came out? Oh,
yeah, I was
yeah.
like, what
Like,
the hell's
why
going
is
on
she
there?
wearing that? That's weird.
Yeah.
Not that she don't look great, but gee Louise. So this match starts, and this match I thought started a little quicker than Romans normally start, and it was a good pace to this match. And as you predicted, it turned into this like epic story of a match where people are coming out. You
Well,
have
before Tom,
yeah,
I know you're jumping to that right now. That before the all of that even goes down, the match was really, really good. There was a lot of false finishes, a couple close counts, right? Like there was just things that just happened during that match where you're just like, I mean, they go to get the tables out, right? And then Roman like prevents it from happening and he shoves the table back underneath. He's like, and he's teasing the crowd. Um, it you talk about pace. This was the opposite of what we saw with the night before, where it was just like a slow build. Like Roman's matches in the past have really been like that, very, very similar to that. But this was really like, man, it got going pretty quick, right? And it was a fun match. There was a couple different spots where you're just like, dude, how is this like going to finish? Like I remember watching this match, and I'm like, how is this really going to like manifest itself towards the end here? Like it because yeah, they go for like Cody at some point hits a spear on Roman Reigns and goes for the count, and that does, and then Roman Reigns does a crossroads on him. Like
Right.
it was
And I
just
heard
like
he said something like, "Yeah, of course it didn't get a three. That move sucks."
yeah, and it just like that build all the way to the moment where Cody it has so it mirrors what happened at WrestleMania 39, right? He goes for the crossroads three times, and on the third time, he's ready to do it. And boom, who do we get to come out first? Do you remember?
First to come out,
Yeah.
was it Jimmy?
Yeah. Jimmy
Yeah,
Uso comes out and super kicks him.
right.
And then it's like, all right, like he tries to get him up. He's like, and then
Then the yeet hits, and
he hits it.
out
Yep.
comes Jay, and then their moment of the weekend when they spear off the side of the entrance ramp.
Yeah. And you think so like look, you have this pit in your stomach that like someone's going to come out, right? And we all had this thought that Cena was going to be there, number one. And then the other one we thought that was going to show up was Stone Cold, right?
Right.
And yeah, it's in the back of your head, in the back of your head. And you knew Solo was going to show up. You knew Jimmy was going to show up. But what keeps this thing going is Cody kicking out finally, like of the Solo spike, kicking out on the Solo spike. He got spiked and he got
Speared.
um speared at the same time and kicks out of that. And yeah, that's when boom, Solo's standing there. He can't believe that he kicks out of it. He's standing over top of Cody Rhodes. And
Cena's
that
music hits, the place
yeah,
erupts. He comes
yeah,
out, puts him over the top rope, attitude adjustment to Roman, gets him outside, beats him up, attitude adjustment through the table. He's going crazy. Next thing you know, boom, The Rock's music hits, and you get this moment of The Rock. And what an outfit that second night, that like jumpsuit, kind of like whatever heck he was wearing. He comes out, and now you get this epic moment of iconic Cena and The Rock stare down. These two looking at each other. They get there. The Rock hits him with the rock bottom. Now he's going to hit him with the belt. Here comes the belt. Mama Rhodes, take a look. Sierra Hotel. Look at that. Out comes the Shield. And at first, you're watching it like I was like, wait, Moxley's not here, is he? Like, we're not getting Dean Ambrose like for a second. And then I'm like, you can't see, you can't see, you can't see. Like, what's going on? And then out of the crowd runs Seth with the chair, and he comes in. And as we mentioned earlier, to his credit, he just takes a Superman punch. Roman pushes Rock out of the way, Superman punch onto Seth, and drops him. Then the later on, he's standing there, and the Rock's gonna hit Cody. Now they're gonna get him. They're gonna get him with the belt. And what we thought, maybe this is Stone Cold. And I think the surprise of it not being Stone Cold was really cool too. I know Stone Cold is like number one, but Undertaker is 1B. If there is it's like they're neck and neck, but that bell rings, the bell tolls, the lights go out. That place erupted, Tim. And you have the video. We posted it on there, thousands of views. Magical moment. You see The Rock when he comes out and he gets the goosebumps and he slaps his arm. That's what it was. Chills in that stadium. Everyone going crazy. The lights come back on. He's behind The Rock. Choke slam. He's, going down. lights go out, Undertaker disappears. Now everyone's down. This and that's going on. Roman comes back in. He grabs the chair and he has the chance to hit Seth or hit Cody. And he decides, I'm going to hit Seth, showing his Achilles heel is still this moment with Seth and how he betrayed him and left the Shield. And that was the moment that cost him the match. Then Cody gets him, puts him
Well,
into his finishers.
so people keep on saying that, like, oh, yeah, he was distracted, and it was a callback to when Seth hits him with the chair, and yeah, that's true. But at that point, Cody gets up, and Roman has already set up for the spear, and he does his ooh ah and goes for the spear, and that's when Cody counters and kicks him in the face. So I don't know if he really essentially loses focus. Yeah, he hit Seth Rollins, but he's still set up for his final finishing move, right?
Right.
Maybe he gave time for Cody to kind of regain consciousness, maybe a little bit, regain consciousness, and maybe that's what we're talking about here. But um, yeah, it was just a counter by Cody, and then Cody, hits the three crossroads, and my God, gets the 1, 2, 3, and that place exploded, dude. It was awesome, man. It was a scene, and yeah, I mentioned my buddy who's a cop. He was like, dude, what is going on right now? Like,
Yeah.
this place is bananas over, like, and again, this is something, this is all, I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not going to say that,
Theater.
but it's all theater. And there's 70,000 people going absolutely berserk for something that's just like a show. It's a
Right.
show. This isn't the Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
This isn't a buzzer beater to win the national
Yeah,
championship or
yeah,
whatever, a walk-off home run, but that's the way it's like. That's the way it
yeah.
feels. It's the game-winning touchdown pass in
And
overtime of the Super Bowl.
and that's what you get when you have people invested in something for so long, right? You can do this. And I got to give credit because I heard this today from Bully Ray and from the guys over at Busted Open, because they said, like, you could have had Cody win last year at WrestleMania 39, and
Right.
it wouldn't have had the same meaning. And it's true, right? And that's what, like, everyone was pissed off about it, and like they're like, oh, I can't believe you didn't finish the story, and like, yeah, look, that would have been a short story. What they did with this is they prolonged it and they made it a marathon, right? To the point where, like, hey, listen, he's gonna have to go through some hard times, as they said, right? Like, he had to go through it, and he had to go through all these speed bumps, which was like The Rock and all this other stuff. And like, who would have thought that The Rock would have came back and put himself into this whole scenario? And you know what's crazy, Tom, is I saw on WWE TV the other day, on, I think it was Peacock. They do it behind the scenes on what happened and how they had to pivot, and because the fans were so invested in Cody Rhodes and what it meant to him, and everything with his father and the Rhodes and the whole family, and it's just it's really cool to see how fans can actually affect change, right? And they realize, hey, like, man, we got to pivot, and we got to
And
make this
good
thing
for
work.
them too to recognize, hey, we got to do something different. In the past, Vince says they're getting what I'm giving them and that's it.
Yeah,
For them to recognize, hey, we need to shift away from this and do something else, and for The Rock to have the balls to do it. Got a lot
right.
on the line, you know. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about his movie career and whatever career he wants. He's a
Mhm.
salesman, and this guy risks it all to be the best heel ever, you know.
The one thing that did suck too is, like, I have two complaints. Number one, I went back and rewatched, and they started bleeping out the curse words, because The Rock, when he's dropping bombs like that left and right, it's so funny. It's great to
Yeah.
hear. And number
It's
two,
real. You know, if
yeah,
we this pretend that there is no foul language is ridiculous.
yeah.
Everyone curses.
And number two, would it have killed? Would it have killed the Undertaker to dress up a little bit?
You know what? What was he wearing? A hoodie and like
Yeah, like,
like
hey,
me at work. Yeah.
like he was sitting in the front row, like, hey, Undertaker, we got this spot. Would you mind doing it? Like, yeah, I'll do it. And hops into the
Uh,
ring. It looked like he just
hey,
got
Stone
done
Cold's
it.
not gonna be able to make it. Taker, you think he could jump up there and
Yeah, like,
do that real quick?
I would have loved if he at least just threw the hat on and like been the Undertaker. I mean, I didn't need, I don't need the American Badass in
Yeah,
there.
right, right.
You know,
Yeah,
like
I hear you. I hear you.
that's
But
it. That's all. I mean,
incredible, incredible,
this is
incredible.
WrestleMania 40. I mean, come
Yeah.
on,
Come on,
man. Like,
dude. Can you wear something nice? Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. You know what? Just incredible moment. So happy to just been a part of it and to be down there and just as a lot of people are saying, maybe the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And we were there, and it's incredible because years from now, when you're like, "Oh, this is going on, this is going on," you're just like, "Oh, I remember that because we were there," you know. So
It's crazy. So, Tom, last thing I want to add, I know we're about to wrap up here because we're running long, but so I was at WrestleMania 15. Okay. That's when I was when I was 18 years old. I don't even know how was it 25 years ago,
17, whatever. Yeah,
17 years old. And that was at the Wells Fargo Center. And there was probably 17,000 people there, maybe. And I got a ticket like a week before the event happened, like just on a whim. Um, and it wasn't even close to what we saw over the weekend. WrestleMania, think about this 40, 25 years later, Tom, sold out the Wells Fargo building three different times. I know you said this in the beginning of the day, right? Or the beginning of this podcast, three times, and then sold out the link twice with over 70,000 people.
yeah,
It's
incredible.
it's crazy
Over
how
200,000 people this
yeah,
weekend alone at the wrestling events, not to mention the convention center, WWE World, the whole deal. Just an amazing, amazing like time for WWE and professional wrestling. And it's an amazing show. And like we just said, I just glad that we were there and it was awesome. And the energy was just, oh man, it was so cool.
it's
And
palpable.
I want to talk to you real quick about the Monday night then. Basically a celebration of Cody Rhodes and his thing. And like we mentioned earlier about this family that is WWE, it just seems like they're just all like together. And it's kind of cool to see that. The Rock comes out and they exchange back and forth. A long promo, but still very, very cool, very iconic. And I just want to talk about The Rock saying he's coming to get him and that moment where he hands him something and what's rumored to maybe be what he handed him in that promo. Back in the day, Dusty Rhodes, they were short on money. They didn't have a lot of things, and Cody had his dreams and aspirations, and they didn't have money to make things happen. It's kind of a full circle thing. He sells this Rolex watch that he had, his like prized possession, to get the money to send Cody out. I want to say it was to Hollywood. It was either there to pay for a wrestling school, but I can't imagine he would have to pay for a wrestling school being that Dusty's his dad. So I think he's sold it to send him out to Hollywood. And the rumor out there is that The Rock got a hold of this watch and returned it and gave it back to Cody. And if that's true, wow, that is just incredible, amazing. That's a company that other wrestlers have to see and say that's what I want to do. That's what I'm looking to do. And just what a bow tie on everything or put a ribbon on everything and just an
Well,
incredible weekend.
yeah, and the way that we have to start thinking about this stuff after seeing what happened this weekend is really just a long-term like storytelling that they're willing to do now at the WWE. They're not just going to just throw something together and it just, like stuff that means, you know, and that can go a long way. And I
Yep.
think that's what we really got to start looking at now moving forward.
And I think that's going to be, and for me coming out of this, the guy that has a story now that needs to move forward, and he's had a great story already, Seth
Igor?
Rollins.
Oh.
Is Todd the Builder, but I feel like Seth Rollins has really set himself up and again sacrificed a lot. This guy, yes, he was in the main event of night one, and he's had the moment in the main event of night two, but he's never been the solo act. He's never been the main event himself. And him and Roman have this incredible story. And I feel like maybe him, quote unquote, finishing a chapter, I'll say, instead of a story with that is something that they can really build to. There's already some history there, and it would be really cool. All right, Timmy, we went long, but it was the WrestleMania show, so of course we had to go long. We hope you all stuck it out with us and enjoyed what we had to say. New episodes every week, and we're starting anew. We're back to square one. Where are we going to go from here? Who will Cody's opponents be? Tim, real quick, who do you want Cody's next opponent to be? If you can name someone, give it to me.
CM Punk.
CM Punk. I love that. CM Punk, you know, something that I think would be kind of cool, a little quick one. It might happen after the draft. I wouldn't mind seeing him do a quick run for a PLE with Final Testament, maybe Karrion Kross and do something like
Sheamus?
that. Sheamus. Oh, another great one coming back. That's an interesting thought. Sheamus. Huh. I love it. All right. For Timothy Schmidt, my name's Tom Lavelle. What an amazing show. We love you. Tim, anything you got to say to all the Schmidt and Lavelleites out there before we sign off?
They all know when they tune in, the Jabroni drop. That you're a Jabroni
For life. Until next week, peace.
Cody, finish your story.